Greetings, my dear friends. This is Dreamweaver Mystics, as always. Today I want to read a letter. It came last week, and I've been thinking about it ever since. It's not about nightmares. It's not about dark entities in the corner of the room. It's about something completely different, something beautiful. Here's what Michael from Colorado writes. I came home from work last Tuesday. It was a long day. Not a bad day, just exhausting. You know that feeling when your brain is full of static and your body feels like it's made of lead? I walked in, threw my jacket on the chair, and just collapsed on the couch. I didn't even turn on the TV. I just closed my eyes. I told myself just 1 minute, just 60 seconds of nothing. And then I was gone. Not asleep, not unconscious. It was different, deeper, like someone had pulled me out of my body through the back of my skull. Suddenly, I wasn't in my apartment anymore. I wasn't anywhere. But I was everywhere at the same time. I can't explain it properly. Words are too small for this. But imagine that you are a single drop of water, a tiny, tiny drop, and suddenly you realize you're not just a drop. You're the entire ocean. Every wave, every current, every creature swimming in the deep. You are all of it. And at the same time, you are still that one drop. I felt connected to everything, every person who ever lived, every tree, every star, every thought that was ever thought. It wasn't overwhelming, it was peaceful, more than peaceful. It was like coming home to a place I never knew I left. I felt loved. Not by someone specific, just loved by existence itself. Like the universe was holding me and saying, you belong here. You've always belonged here. You just forgot. I don't know how long I was there. Could have been seconds, could have been hours. When I opened my eyes, I was still on my couch. My jacket was still on the chair. The room was exactly the same, but I wasn't the same. Something inside me had shifted. I've been chasing that feeling ever since. I can't get it back, but I know it's real. I know it's out there, or maybe in here. I don't know anymore. Thank you, Michael. That's a powerful message. And I know exactly what you're talking about. I've had similar moments, not often, maybe 3 or 4 times in my life, when the noise stops, when the thoughts quiet down, and for a split second you touch something bigger than yourself, something that was always there, hiding behind the static of everyday life. Some people call it meditation. Some call it a spiritual experience. Some say it's just your brain releasing chemicals. And maybe that's true. But here's what I think. I think Michael felt the truth that we are all connected, every single one of us, every living thing, every rock, every star, every thought. You see, modern physics is starting to catch up with what mystics have been saying for thousands of years. There's this thing called quantum entanglement. I'm not a physicist, so don't quote me on this. But from what I understand, when 2 particles become entangled, they stay connected no matter how far apart they are. You could put one particle on Earth and the other on the other side of the galaxy. And if you change something about one particle, the other particle changes instantly, at the same moment, faster than light. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. He didn't like it. It didn't fit his view of how the world should work. But it's real. Scientists have proven it. Now, here's my thought. And remember, these are just my thoughts and guesses. Nobody really knows what's going on. But what if quantum entanglement isn't just happening to tiny particles? What if it's happening to all of us? What if every person you've ever loved, every person who ever hurt you, every stranger you passed on the street, what if you're entangled with all of them? What if your thoughts affect them and their thoughts affect you, even when you're thousands of miles apart? Think about it. Have you ever thought about someone right before they called you? Have you ever felt that something was wrong with a family member before anyone told you? Have you ever walked into a room and felt the tension before anyone said a word? That's entanglement. That's connection. That's the ocean that Michael felt. We're all drops of water pretending to be separate, but underneath, deep underneath, we're still the same ocean. And here's the scary part. If we're all connected, then every thought you have matters. Every time you wish someone harm, you're not just hurting them, you're hurting yourself. Because they are you. In a very real way, there is no them. There's only us. There's only one. And every time you send out love, every time you help someone, every time you create something beautiful, you're feeding that same ocean. You're making the whole thing stronger, brighter, more alive. Michael felt like a drop of water in a vast ocean, and that's exactly what we are. Separate enough to have our own experience, connected enough to never truly be alone. But here's the question that keeps me up at night. If we're all connected, why do we forget? Why do we spend most of our lives feeling isolated, lonely, separate? Why do we fight each other? Why do we hurt each other? Why do we build walls when we're all living in the same house? Maybe it's part of the design. Maybe we're supposed to forget. Maybe the whole point of being human is to feel alone in a universe that is actually completely connected. Maybe the forgetting is the lesson. Or maybe it's just a glitch. Maybe we're not supposed to forget. Maybe we're supposed to remember. And moments like Michael's, those brief flashes of oneness, are reminders, little wake-up calls from the universe saying, hey, you're not just a drop, you're the ocean. Don't forget again. I don't have the answer. Nobody does. Anyone who tells you they know for sure what's going on is probably trying to sell you something. But here's what I believe. I believe we're connected. I believe our thoughts travel. I believe that when you sit alone in your room and feel completely isolated, you're actually surrounded by a web of invisible threads linking you to everyone and everything that ever existed. And I believe that Michael really did touch something real. Not a hallucination, not a chemical reaction, a glimpse, a tiny crack in the wall between us and the truth. So here's my advice. If you ever have a moment like that, when the noise stops and you feel the vastness, don't run from it. Don't explain it away. Just sit in it. Let it wash over you. And when it's gone, try to remember. Try to bring a little piece of that ocean back with you into your everyday life. Because the ocean isn't out there somewhere. It's in here, right now. always. These are just my thoughts and guesses. What actually is going on, nobody knows. Maybe nobody's supposed to know. But it's beautiful to think about, isn't it? If you ever felt like Michael, like a drop of water touching the ocean, write to me. I read every letter. This is Dreamweaver Mystics. Until next time.